UCLA is preparing for March Madness, but the big news in local college hoops is USC. DeAndre Ayton claims he's all in for the Lakers, and Roki Sasaki gets blasted again in spring training, but he's still going to make the Dodger rotation. Good morning. I'm James. And this is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos Morning Report. It is March 19, 2026. Welcome back to the show. When I'm done, I'm on my way to the airport and heading home, and I can't wait. If you like being in the know about LA sports, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop an update. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. By all means, comment. Now, before we go through the news and notes, a quick look at the scoreboard. Lakers 124, Houston 116. Luka Doncic, 40 points. LeBron James adds 30. The Lakers are on a 7-game winning streak. New Orleans 124, Clippers 109. Kawhi Leonard returned after missing a game due to an ankle sprain. He scores 25, but Benedict Mathurin, who has been instant offense for the Clippers, he is out for the entire road trip with a right big toe injury. Today, pretty decent schedule. The Lakers are at Miami at 5. The Clippers remain in New Orleans, and they'll play again at 5. Philadelphia is at the Kings at 7:30, and it's Galaxy game day. They are playing at Mount Pleasant. I believe that's in Jamaica. It is the second leg in CONCACAF Champions Cup. The Galaxy currently lead in goals 3-0. So with that out of the way, let's get to the news. The last thing I expected to report this week was any good news for USC basketball. You missed the NCAA tournament. You go and finish the year on an 8-game losing streak. I expected that the most positive thing to happen would be a vote of confidence, which of course is not really a vote of confidence, for Eric Musselman from the athletic department. In other words, a thinly veiled threat to get off your ass or get run. I expected players to say, you know what, to hell with this, and head for parts unknown. I expected UCLA, which actually made the NCAA tournament, to suck all the air out of the room. Nope, not at all. USC has received a third commitment from a McDonald's All-American in the current high school recruiting cycle. Forward Christian Collins is a 6'8 forward from St. John Bosco. He is ranked number 5 on ESPN's prospect list, 9th ranked by 24/7 Sports. And you might be saying, what? How the hell did that happen? Now, I'd be lying if I claimed to be an expert in all things St. John Bosco athletics. I think it would look pretty damn creepy if I were hanging around high schools, but I digress. What I have been able to glean about him is that he appears to be a wing who can play multiple defensive positions, which obviously makes him valuable. And with the other recruits that USC has landed, which we'll talk about in a moment, it seems the Trojans' front line is set. But again, if you were sitting in this gnarly little hotel room like I am, you'd be asking the same question when people see me and my wife. How the hell did that happen? On the record, Collins cited Musselman's record with player development, that he's going to be close to home, that the Trojans also have an elite recruiting class with a twin tower front court of Adonis and Darius Ratliff. Oh, really? Because from where I'm sitting, I'm not being fooled. It's NIL. NIL uber alles. Doesn't matter that USC hasn't made March Madness in 3 years. It is NIL. Doesn't matter that Chad Baker-Mazara allegedly was such a jerk that he got kicked off the team. Doesn't matter that Gilbert Arenas is trying to create drama around his son. It's the money, and you know what? I don't care that it's the money. I totally don't. I don't care when people ask me how I landed my wife. So if I'm not going to care about that, I don't care what the Trojans do to win, as long as it's not open cheating. And no, I don't have a mail order bride. We can turn the page on that. I'm just saying, if USC, for whatever reason, if the check is fat enough and that's what's going to finally get them back to where they should be, cool. Now, for the record, it's not the first time Musselman has been able to pull off such a trifecta. He did so with Arkansas a few years ago. And all three of those players are professionals right now. Jordan Walsh plays for Boston. Anthony Black, currently with Orlando. Nick Smith, although not in the NBA, is currently playing for the Lakers G League team. Once again, a second shot with Musselman with 3 McDonald's All-Americans on a roster at once. So it's a hell of a day for USC. And I am stunned. Let me know what you think in the comments thread. Meanwhile, with the Lakers, we mentioned a 7-game winning streak. DeAndre Ayton said he looked in the mirror, realized the Lakers only had his best interest at heart, and damn it, he is all in. No longer taking his career for granted, man, he is all about the purple and gold. He told The Athletic that when J.J. Redick did not start him in Houston on Monday. He was all up in his thoughts because Clint Capella was out there and he wasn't. Gee, doesn't that sound familiar? Because it was just a couple of weeks ago, Ayton was screaming in the locker room that he didn't want to be treated like Capella, who Ayton felt was beneath him. Truth hurts, don't it? There's Capella on the court. Ayton is in the back of the bench sipping Gatorade. So, Ayton said, quote, "It's like you go out for a reason. Go think about it." So the result, again a quote, "I've completely bought in, completely, like 110%. I hope you see the work. You can tell LeBron's locked in. Luka, everybody's been completely locked in, and I'm just tired of being the odd man out. Team's been there, it's just been me," unquote. So, do you believe that? Do you? I'd love to be proven wrong, but I don't. Here's why. I'm going to get a little esoteric on you guys. We all have a default to our personality, okay? When life gets real, we revert back to that type. Some of us get angry, some of us get focused, some get frustrated, some just blame themselves. Me, when times get tough, I get sarcastic. I'm sure you're shocked. But do you think that when times get tough, and believe me, they will in the playoffs, is DeAndre Ayton fight or flight? Exactly. Exactly. Roki Sasaki's return to facing major league hitters did not exactly salve the nerves. He allowed 3 runs in 3 1/3 innings with a home run a couple of days ago, and yet Dave Roberts affirmed Sasaki's spot in the rotation despite his 13.5 spring training ERA. I understand why you might be sitting there going, doesn't that suck? Because it does. But when you pencil in Sasaki as the 5th starter behind Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Tyler Glasnow, Shohei Ohtani, and Emmett Sheehan, I think it's fair for the Dodgers to suggest you find your chi. At least in this outing, Sasaki could kind of find the plate. 38 strikes and 71 pitches. Look, long season. I think it's fair to say that it's going to be feast or famine until the guy figures out how to integrate a third breaking pitch. He did strike out 10, by the way, in this outing, but he also allowed 9 walks. So, wee little baby steps. Miguel Rojas wasn't just mad, by the way, not about Sasaki, but something else. He was falsely accused of taking a banned substance. Really mad. Oh, so mad. Somebody even gave him a cape and he became super mad. But I can't blame him. Wrong Rojas. It was John Rojas of Philly who was suspended for 80 games. The Athletic is the one who committed the error, which sucks because I normally trust their reportage. What got under Miguel Rojas' skin, though, was that the tweet was only deleted. And by that time, it was already being blasted all over the interwebs. So he had to wait for hours to get an apology while his name was getting dragged. Now, eventually, the reporter did contact Rojas, and the two hugged it out virtually. So, there's that. Safety, Tony Jefferson returns to the Chargers on a one-year deal. Now, he only played in 13 games, but he intercepted 4 passes and broke up 7 more. So, in an offseason for the Bolts that is chock full of weird ideas, at least bringing back defensive players such as Jefferson actually makes sense. So kudos. Now, we've been talking for almost 2 weeks about the abyss at left guard. And I do not believe for a moment that Trevor Penning is the starter. But we do have an alternative theory that fits in with this swap meet garage sale approach that the Chargers appear to be having to try to fortify protection around a franchise quarterback. The Bolts will wait until at least June 1st so that whatever happens, they could at least keep the compensatory pick that they got for losing Odafe Owe. If they sign an elite guard right now, they lose that pick. Okay? Also, there are going to be cuts during training camp. Now, to be clear, I'm not going to sit here and insult your intelligence and tell you that a training camp cut is suddenly going to become an all-pro. But it's going to be damn sure an upgrade over what they currently have if they find one. There are 2 schools of thought about the offensive side for the Bolts. And I wanted to share them both with you because it's curious. A guy I happen to like, Pete Prisco of CBSSports.com, thinks that the additions of fullback Alec Ingold and tight end Charlie Kolar mean that Jim Harbaugh is still committed to power running. Meanwhile, you go to Daniel Popper of The Athletic. He too, someone I think is pretty thorough, and you have Prisco, who is just covers the entire NFL guy. Meanwhile, you have Popper, who just covers the Chargers as thoroughly as he can. He says that the Bolts offseason has been all about pushing all the chips into offensive coordinator Mike McDaniel. So, can I offer my own opinion? Because, man, I have been reading a lot. I've been trying so hard to make sense of what the Chargers have been doing. So these are my thoughts. I have every reason to believe that the Chargers are going to win double-digit games this year, simply due to Harbaugh's force of will. But Harbaugh has his way of coaching. McDaniel has his way of coaching. And if you follow Joe Ortiz's methods of building a team, he too has his own way. In other words, 3 different men with 3 different ways of approaching things. And because of that, I am not sure that this Venn diagram actually Venns. Where is the overlap? The cohesion? The idea that the right hand knows what the left is doing. Look at the Rams, and it's as if Sean McVay and Les Snead are finishing each other's sentences like it's a syrupy romance novel. Both teams, the Rams and the Chargers, took big swings in the offseason, but the Rams were precise. With the Chargers, it's like all 3 guys are trying to be the smartest guy in the room. Like they're competing with each other instead of working as one. And trying to get 11 men to work as one on a football field, not particularly easy. Harbaugh is got his approach. I can out-tough anybody. McDaniel, I can out-scheme anybody. Ortiz, I can bargain shop better than my mom. Look at the Raiders, for example. I really like Pete Carroll. I thought when the Raiders hired him, it was a great idea until they hired Chip Kelly to run the offense. Make no mistake, Carroll never wanted to run a spread. The only reason that he had to run the spread was because reports suggested that Tom Brady wanted to hire Kelly. The Venn diagram didn't Venn in Vegas last year, and I don't think it Venns with the Chargers now. So I think they'll get double-digit wins. I think they're going to be at the bottom end of the playoff bracket again, and unless there's something I'm not seeing here, they're going to get bounced again. Just my thoughts. And I could be wrong. Let me know. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Not just about that, but you can tell me whether or not USC is finally figuring this basketball thing out, or if DeAndre Ayton is in fact all in with the Lakers. And if you enjoyed this update, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Cortell Queso production. Take care.